everybody. Welcome back to Every Day is Saturday. I'm Matt Stahl along with my partner, Brad Gatto. And we have a special edition, one of my favorite types of episodes today. We're going to be interviewing one of our very own, Cooper Hitt. And not that Cooper's been counting, but he just told us it's been 1 year and 1 month in the making. So Cooper, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So just a little background on Cooper. He's actually been with us longer than that because he started as an intern while he was at Bethel University. And
he did.
So we kind of watched him grow up a little bit. Would you agree with that?
I mean, in a sense, yeah. I feel like I've been here for a long time, but
well, as a percentage of your life, you have.
It's up there
because you're young.
Yeah. I guess I started here when I was 21, 2 years. It's been about 2 years, I think. It was over that.
I know you were 21 because there was a specific event that happened at the office and there was alcohol involved. And then I freaked out. And I'm like, wait a minute, are you even old enough to be drinking alcohol?
So about 10% of your life.
Yeah, that's actually kind of crazy.
Been a part of this. Yeah. I wish I could. Well, I guess I can say the same. Awesome. So I'm really excited about this because just to give a bit of background on Cooper, he seems to pull these special skills and tricks out of his sleeve occasionally that we didn't know existed. So I'm excited to learn more about the man, the myth, the legend, Cooper Hitt. And so let's start it off from the beginning. How'd you end up here?
So it's actually kind of a funny story. I was at my sister's engagement party and one of our former employees.
I don't know this story. Now that you're starting this story, I don't know. I didn't know that this. Okay.
I know part of the story.
And so one of our former employees, Andrew, came up to me and, I knew him. He was a TA for one of my classes in college, but he came up to me and we were talking. And of course, my dad was looking over my shoulder, kind of listening in, and, his ears perked when he heard internship. And I don't know if you guys were even, looking, or he just kind of just said, hey, I'd be interested in having you as an intern. Would you be interested? And I'm like, yeah, I think so. And I remember after that conversation, my dad kind of, grabbed me, pulled me aside, and he goes, "You're doing that." and I'm like, okay, well, I guess. So I reached out to Andrew again, and that's how I got started here. It was a weird event. I wasn't looking. Yeah. I wasn't actively looking, and it seems like a lot of times that's kind of how these things sort of happen.
So were you not? But did your classes at Bethel, your major, not require you to have an internship?
They did, but I was going into the first semester of my junior year, and I was planning on finding an internship in the spring or in the winter time.
Sure.
Because my class schedule was pretty packed that fall, and it just worked out. It would have worked out better to do it in the spring. And so I moved to class and decided to just do the internship then.
So when did, it's going to sound bad because I don't know the answer to this question, but so when did you start?
I started, I believe it was October of 2020.
Right in the mix.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
And so when you started your internship, what was your role? What were you doing at that time?
It was kind of like my role today. I showed up and I didn't know exactly what I needed to do. I had, I was helping Andrew out with the paraplanning side of things and inputting the data into our softwares. But then there was always these one-off tasks of, hey, I need you to dig into this Excel sheet, look over this stuff, filter the data. I remember one of my biggest projects, and this, I believe it was in 2021, was Christmas cards.
Oh, and I can't believe you came back.
That was a nightmare to the point that I think I told Ashley, I said I just couldn't do it. As sad as that sounds, the data coming from all of our different sources was,
yep.
we had to get it cleaned up, and we got it cleaned up. So
if you're listening to this podcast and you get a Christmas card for us, I just want you to know that one, Cooper had something to do with it. And two, it is not easy to send out that many Christmas cards and to get it right. So, so you interned with us for a while. When did you graduate Bethel and then formally join Fiat as an employee?
Yeah. So I graduated after J term. So Bethel has J terms. You take one class for the whole month of January. I graduated after that. So technically, January 2022. And then I started at the beginning of February of that same year.
So did you graduate early then?
I did. I graduated about a semester early.
Okay.
I did the same thing back in the day.
Yeah, me too.
Totally kidding.
I took what's known as a victory lap.
Yeah, a couple of them.
Yeah, a couple. So what was your major?
So I was data analytics for a while.
Wow.
And I think Brad was under the impression, I don't know where you got this, but I think Brad thought I was accounting.
Same thing. I mean,
until 4 seconds ago, I thought you were accounting.
Well, but no, so I started off as data analytics, and then I moved to econ and finance. And then I found out if I just dropped the econ part, I could graduate a semester early. And so that's what I did.
So technically you have a finance major.
Yep. I'm straight finance.
Straight finance. I like that.
Well,
I think we should get a t-shirt that says straight finance
with Randy Moss on it.
Yeah.
Straight finance, homie.
Yeah. How about before Bethel? Where are you from?
So I am originally from Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, beautiful.
The Great Plains.
And there are actually falls there.
Yeah. They're not like Niagara, but they're a lot smaller in scale.
So people don't come from near and far to see the falls.
I sure hope falls.
I've seen the falls. I thought they were quite impressive.
They're cool, but I wouldn't call it. I think Mount Rushmore is more of a
draw,
a draw to
or wall drug.
Or wall drug.
Wall drug, yeah.
Matt and I both grew up in Iowa, and I grew up in Northwest Iowa, which is, I don't know, took maybe 75 minutes to get to Sioux Falls. I never knew there were falls there until I was well into adulthood.
I would say the same. I was central Iowa, though. We didn't have anything.
Yeah.
We had cornfields. That's about it.
Well, we used to go to Sioux Falls. Like, that was one of the places you would go to shop, because Sioux City, Iowa and Sioux Falls were the two places that were closest to us that actually had something outside of like a Kmart. I just didn't know there was falls. So Sioux Falls actually has falls. So you grew up in Sioux Falls and came to the Twin Cities area because of Bethel. How'd you choose Bethel for college?
That's a funny story. I think my first choice, I shouldn't say I think, my first choice was Baylor. I didn't know.
Texas.
Yeah.
Different than.
It was, it was like it wasn't a last minute decision, I would say, but all my siblings went to Bethel.
Oh.
So my oldest brother, my other brother, and my sister, they all went to Bethel. And it was kind of one of those things where my parents were like, yeah, you can go to Baylor, but you should really look at Bethel. And so I went and visited, and I ended up liking it. And, it was something I was familiar with as well, with my brothers and my sister going there.
So other than familiarity, what was it that you liked that drew you away from Baylor?
I think it was just the familiarity of it. There's nothing, I shouldn't say nothing special about it, but it was something that was familiar. My sister was going there at the time. I didn't know if I could take a car down to Baylor, and my sister had a car up at Bethel, so that I knew I could get around.
That makes life easier. That's for sure.
Yes. That makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
So now that you've been at Fiat for technically as an employee for a little over a year, what is your role today? What do you do at Fiat?
Well, right now I'm the investment and reporting manager. I would say that probably takes up anywhere from 50 to 60% of my day. We just hired a new employee, Josh, and we're in the middle of transitioning all of the client service work over to him. And so I'm, that's probably another 20 to 30% of my day. And then the other gap is really just anything. I would say.
I was waiting for the.
Yeah. I mean, I'm the type of person who likes to stay busy. I don't like being stagnant and still. And I love the challenge of trying to do something that I guess in all honesty, that challenges me.
Sure.
Which has encompassed a lot of different things.
Yeah, you've done a lot of things at Fiat. A lot of you've I think more than anybody, you've had your hands in different parts of the business, and still to this day. When Matt and I were talking about this episode prior to you coming in, Matt goes, "So what's his exact title right now?" And I was like, I don't remember. I did come up with it, but it didn't like roll off the tongue because you've got your hands in so many different projects, and I tend to give you projects, probably more than you want. But every now and again, my brain goes crazy, and I think of these ideas, and I got to get it out of my head, and I got to have somebody to hand it to. And unfortunately, you're usually the person that ends up on.
I thought he might say fortunately.
Yeah,
well, I think unless you're putting on a good show, Coop, it seems as though you enjoy the variety.
I enjoy doing them. And I've got, whenever you give me one of those things, I've got a rolling list as well. And it's just, whenever I've got time to kind of dig in and do it.
Yeah.
And there's certain times, I just can't pick something up and really get it done. I have to, there's a thought process behind it. And if I'm like on a roll per se, I got to work every angle of that roll until there's like nothing left to do. And then I'll show it to somebody, and then they'll point a lot of things that are wrong about it.
I've never done that.
No. Well, you have. Ashley's usually the one that says, yeah, it looks good. Show it to Brad. And then, well, we know what happens there.
Oh boy. Sorry, Coop. This turned into a counseling session.
I appreciate it.
So one thing we like to talk about here is we often talk about finding the right seat on the bus. It's a good old Jim Collins quote of getting the right people on the bus and then finding the right seat for them. And the other phrase that gets thrown around is, which it's kind of gets overused at this point, but what each person's superpower is, or their unique ability. You probably can guess what I'm going to ask you next.
Yeah.
What do you think your superpower is?
I'm not sure I've found that yet, because
I haven't either. And twice your age.
I enjoy, and this is, back to having all these different roles, a jack of all trades type of role. I enjoy having all those different roles and having, access to all these different areas of the business. And I think that's really starting for me to narrow down what I know I'm good at and what I know I'm not good at. And what, in all honesty, what I actually enjoy the most.
Which is?
I haven't found that. I'm still narrowing it down. I haven't found it yet.
That was the drum roll. That was the drum roll needed to be inserted. All right, I'm going to put you on the spot again.
Okay.
Fast forward 3 years. It's a Wednesday in February. What does that look like? What are you doing? What are you doing at Fiat? What's your day going to consist of?
I'm pretty sure I sort of asked this question in my annual review.
Yeah.
Back in December. And it was more so of a question of, where do you see Fiat going in the next 3 to 5 years or 10 years? And I believe Brad's answer was, I don't know. and to answer that question, I think it's best put that I think I would see myself in a position where Fiat needs me the most.
Nice.
Whether that, I'm not saying no to any position.
Yeah.
But I'm comfortable that I can find a role that Fiat needs me to have and that I enjoy.
Everybody, yeah, especially in small business, you need people that can be multifaceted, multi-talented, and not only have the ability to do it, but have the mental stamina to deal with that, and the desire and the willingness to do that. And so it's a unique set of skills to be able to kind of bend and flex and mold to whatever role you're in. But again, that willingness to be able to do it is important as well. And that's, to this point, through your internship and then through your employment, I think you've worn more hats than almost anybody, if not anybody at the firm. And so the fact that that's part of, I would say, that's part of your superpowers, your ability to bend or flex to a situation and just be able to kind of pick up from scratch with something that wasn't built out, or, because that's not easy to do. There's a lot of people that get into a role and the role's defined and they can check the boxes and they do it extremely well. And then there's other people that have this ability to start from scratch and just kind of run with things and not only do it, but do it well. And so I think that having that's your answer is like, look, whatever, I don't know, whatever needs and wherever that leads, as long as we keep you busy and it's interesting stuff for you, it's a vital role that we're going to, and I'm kind of laughing at my answer because I don't know if that's exactly what I said to you. I hope that's not exactly what I said, is I have no idea, but there is some truth in it, right? Because over the last 2 years of your time here, Fiat looks a lot different today than it did 2 years ago. And it is my expectation that that's going to continue to be the case as we continue to seek out being the best firm we can be for the families that we serve. And there's just always room for improvement in that. And with seeking out that improvement means change. And with change comes me not knowing what your exact title is. And the role that you have.
Title's flexible.
Yes.
Well, being in the position through the transition where I kind of get to be an outside observer to a degree, a lot more than before, the world moves fast, right? And change moves really quickly. And one thing, Brad, that I've mentioned to you several times is just the amount of confidence that I have in your ability and therefore the company's ability to stay ahead of all those things. I think that's been a huge strength. And so that skill set and that superpower, I think, is only going to become even more important. And, it's the creativity, it's the ability to be nimble and move throughout those different areas and continue to create new things. So I have another tough question for you.
All right.
You ready for it?
Do it.
Okay. So the name of this podcast is Every Day is Saturday. Brad and I know what that means to each of us and how we want to express that. And when we say that, what does that mean to you?
Well,
he's excited for this one, I can tell.
Yeah. Well, I got some off the top of my head, but right. I'll get back to that. Every day is Saturday is just, I feel like for me personally, it can apply, but I feel like right now, every day is Friday for me.
Oh,
I'm quoting Scott Airy in our office. And I think what he means by, I've never asked him what he means by it, but I'm assuming what he means by that is, we're obviously not retired.
Right.
But I think everybody here listening and, you and I here today can agree that Friday is probably the best day of the work week. And
I would agree.
And, that's when I think everybody's their happiest. They are enjoying what they're doing. Everyone just enjoys Fridays. And so I think living the everyday is Friday life for me right now means that I'm enjoying what I'm doing. And I feel like every day is Saturday is more for retirees. Saturday is the day after work. You finished your work for the week. You get to enjoy Saturday and living that life, living that day throughout your entire life. That's what I think every day is Saturday means.
Love it. Maybe that's the new inner cultural phrase, Brad. Every day is Friday.
I can get behind it, but For me, it's Mondays. My favorite day is, I know that I'm super weird, and I just love Mondays. Actually, I get anxiety about the weekends because I feel like you lose momentum, and then like it builds and builds all week. And then Friday is kind of we have a pretty laid back culture here anyway, but Fridays is way more laid back than the rest of the week. And Monday's the work day. Monday's the grind day. It's the day we have our team meeting. It's, that kind of stuff. And I don't know. I just love Mondays.
We're going to have several phrases floating around here.
Every day is Monday.
Every day is Friday. Every day is Thursday.
Anyway, but I can get behind the every day is Friday from the internal culture standpoint. I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. All right, Coop, what we'd like to do to end these episodes where we have guests is end with kind of a lightning round called 5 fast questions.
Okay.
Matt and I do not pre-prepare these questions. They're whatever questions pop up in the top of our head or our minds. And then we expect you to answer in the exact same format. Unprepared, whatever comes to the top of your mind, that is your answer. It's going to be recorded. It's going to be put on the internet and live forever. So,
gotcha.
Matt, you want to start us off?
I do. Yes. First question. Who or what is inspiring you most these days?
Ooh, I like that one.
I would say probably my dad.
Nice.
I try to talk to him once a day, either him or my mom, once a day. And, I'll just talk things through with him, and he gives very good advice. So I think right now, and he's also living the everyday Saturday life, which is pretty inspiring. I don't know if he's quite, spending his money and having fun in retirement, but I know he's definitely spending money.
I know a pretty good financial firm that could help him with
Yeah.
I'm just saying. No pressure. Okay. Awesome. Question number 2. You're now 40 years old. You're my age. What are you doing, and what do you think would define success for you at 40 years old?
Nice.
Thought these were like a lightning round questions. These are like roll off the tongue type of questions.
It's supposed to. What's the first thing that came to your head?
My favorite color is blue.
The first thing that came to my head was a house, because I've been saving up for one, and right now I'm renting. And I think in the next few years here, when things start to settle down, I will try and get into a home.
Okay. So you own a home.
So that's number 1. Number 2 is to have a family.
Okay.
And then from a location standpoint, I would think on, this is just the next thing that popped into my head, the west side of town.
There's a heavy draw to the west side of town of Fiat, just so you know.
Yeah. And yeah, I know Delano is kind of the spot.
That's right.
For everybody.
That's right.
I don't know if I would go quite that far.
That's what everybody says.
Yeah. I think something that would define success for me is kind of going back to that question of finding what my role would be here in the next 3 to 10 years. And it would be knowing that I'm doing something that I enjoy and making a difference. And I'm sure multiple people have said this, but if you really truly like what you're doing and love the work that you're doing, it doesn't feel like work.
Yep.
And I think that would define success for me.
Awesome.
Love it. All right. Next question. It is a Saturday. You have nothing to do. You have 3 hours to burn to do something. What is it? What are you going to do?
What month is it?
It is June.
Did you say 3 hours so he can't say golf because you don't like golf?
Yes, that was very strategic.
So 3 hours on a Saturday in June. I don't know. The first thing that's coming to my head right now is probably go for a run. Yeah, I used to do cross country and track in high school. And, when I think of 3 hours and nothing to do, I think of Saturday afternoon. And that's typically what I would do on a Saturday afternoon when I have nothing else to do, is to just go for a run.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
It's kind of boring. I know.
No, I love it. I think I can appreciate that.
It is cathartic for a lot of people. I get it's, time to think, clear your mind, do, whatever it is. I get it.
I'm changing my tune on golf a little bit. I'm becoming a little more open-minded. All right. So
Matt, if you're unfamiliar, is not a golfer. I don't know if you picked up on that, everybody, but he's not a golfer. We went on a work trip once, and there was golf involved. They had a very nice golf course, and we didn't have to pay for it. And Matt did not go. It's just, I get if you're not, like, you have to really not be a golfer to just not take advantage of that. So, all right. So that was question 3. Question number 4. You have a month off, and you have to spend that time volunteering for some sort of nonprofit organization. What do you want to spend your time doing?
I would say probably Habitat for Humanity.
Okay.
I volunteered there between my junior and senior year of high school. I did that for the whole summer, and I enjoyed, building the houses. There was a lot of stuff I couldn't do because I don't think I was quite 18 yet, but I enjoyed working there and just building a house. I thought it was pretty cool at the time.
Yeah.
But
it's a great organization.
Mm-hmm.
You think the house is still standing that you built?
I hope so.
Remember, he wasn't 18. They didn't even let him hammer the
it was pretty robust. Yeah, I wasn't allowed to use power tools. So every tool I was using was, it was by hand. I couldn't use a drill, and so I didn't screw anything in. I just had to nail it.
Was this in Sioux Falls?
This was.
Okay. Very good. We actually have a family that we work with, a client of Fiat's that is retired and spends all of his time with Habitat for Humanity and travels all over the place building houses. So pretty cool story. Great organization. So
yeah, love it.
All right. Last question.
Final question. I'm gonna toss you an easy one.
I hope he gets stuck. I think
it's an easy one. I don't know. So
I'm gonna get stuck.
It's your last meal. You get to choose exactly what you're gonna eat. What are you gonna eat? He's stuck.
No, I'm not stuck.
No, I'm not stuck.
I'm trying to think. Obviously, spaghetti. Spaghetti.
Obviously. He almost said obviously spaghetti.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to get more specific on where.
Spaghetti with meatballs?
Well, no,
like meat sauce or?
I would say spaghetti with meatballs is my number one go-to.
Right.
I'm trying to think of the best spaghetti and meatballs I've had. Pizza Luce.
Yeah,
that has a very good spaghetti and meatballs. But I think if it was my last meal, I would probably want something flown in from Italy.
Oh, there you go.
The authentic.
Yeah, the real deal.
It is
fresh
different.
Pasta.
Mm-hmm.
It is different. I've had the wonderful opportunity to taste fresh pasta while over in Italy, and it's a different deal. The pizza's even different. It's just there's a place called Alice's Pizza or something over there. I walked all the way across Rome just to get a slice of pizza. Put 12 miles on my shoes that
Worth
day.
it.
It was totally worth it. It's totally worth it. So, and Primo, I think, right down the road from us here,
Primo is very good.
is got rock star pastas.
Yes.
So, little plug there for Primo. But spaghetti and meatball, so here's okay, we're only supposed to ask you 5 questions. So this is kind of a follow-up to question 5.
Okay.
Day of spaghetti or next day spaghetti?
Oh. Now he's
that's tough.
It is tough.
Because
99% of foods, it's day of, but there's something about pasta there's
something about spaghetti that when you reheat it, usually if you reheat a burger, you
not
ruin
good.
it.
But lasagna is the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Next day lasagna.
I would have to say fresh.
Okay. But it's interesting because it's at least even a thought.
Right. It did make me think.
Well, I'll end by saying this, Coop. We love having you here at Fiat. You're an integral part of the team. And the best part about having you on the podcast is your interaction day to day isn't always client facing or forward facing. And so a lot of the families that we work with don't get an opportunity to know exactly who you are and what you do here. I still don't know exactly what you do here. I just know you do a lot of things. And it's awesome having people that are willing to be a part of the team and fit into the culture. And so we're blessed to have you as a part of the team. Thanks for joining us on the podcast today and telling us a little bit about who you are. With that said, everybody, thanks again for joining us for another episode of Every Day is Saturday. If you have not yet subscribed to the podcast, I would ask for you to kindly do so. Or as my son likes to say, smash that like button. You can subscribe. You can tell your friends, your family, your loved ones, they can subscribe as well. I guess we'll just see you next Saturday. Have a good day, everybody.
Thank you for listening to Every Day is Saturday. Click the subscribe button below to be notified when new episodes become available. The information covered and posted represents the views and opinions of the guest and does not necessarily represent the views or opinions of Fiat Wealth Management. The content has been made available for informational and educational purposes only. The content is not intended to be a substitute for professional investing advice. Always seek the advice of your financial advisor or other qualified financial service provider with any questions you may have regarding your investment planning.